discrimination in entertainment. And you're talking about one Guyana. When the Ministry of Culture keep the big shows, one set of girls and banner. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup, look how we evil set up. The people fed up. Every picture you take and promise you make, everything you do is about clout. Then you come into me for I shake your hand, there's nothing to smile about. Corruption inside every sector, but when it comes to them they send you. Try investigate efficiency, right? Go talk to Baratans too, cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup, look how we evil set up. The people fed up.
At Big Bird Transportation Service, we specialize in safe, fast, and dependable delivery transportation for businesses and individuals. Whether you're sending a small package across town or need scheduled deliveries for your company, we're here to make sure your items arrive on time, every time. Our team is committed to providing efficient logistics solutions with a personal touch. With a fleet of well-maintained vehicles and experienced drivers, we handle every delivery with care, from pickup to drop-off. Why choose Big Bird? On-demand and scheduled deliveries. Local and regional coverage. Secure and professional handling. Customer-first service. Call us today at 929-329-9938 and let Big Bird take your deliveries to the next level.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Straight Up on Bench Up Radio 107.1 FM. A pleasant Monday evening to everyone. Welcome to the broadcast. Welcome to the broadcast. We encourage you to share the link and like this program. Okay, we're going to quickly get into a few issues here tonight. And I also welcome any topic that you guys may want to chat on. Feel free to use the chat and, let us know what you would like to, talk about this evening. Good evening. Good evening. I can see you all here. Lorraine Beat, Joseph, Annette Cummins, Mary Figueroa, Desiree Smart Felix, Harriet Hall, Desiree Liverpool, Sandra Hanover, Monica Jones, Denise Booker, Althea Jones. Welcome to the program. Welcome to the program. Patricia Wren. Welcome to the program, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, where are we going to start? Let's start off with the unqualified install sitting police commissioner of Guyana, Clifton Hicken, with a statement that he would have made saying that the citizens of Guyana should stop handing out bribes to the police officers. Now, don't you think, Clifton Hicken, that the government that you are a part of has placed enough pressure, on the people of Guyana already? They have to worry about cost of living, inflation, amongst other things, right? And the daily duties and monthly duties of a family, rent, sending children to school, amongst other things, employment, right? There's not a lot of employment out there for Guyanese. People have to create their own employment, yet when they do so, you guys infringe on them and say that they have no right to vend, they cannot be here, they cannot be there, And when you look at Georgetown, it is just loaded with Venezuelans. So I don't know. I don't know exactly what's the expectation of this government for born and bred Guyanese, their survival. All right. So he's saying, right, that we should not give bribes. The Guyanese people should not give bribes to officers of the Guyana Police Force. Well, if you're going to make such a statement, right, you gotta put mechanisms in place to prevent that, to deter that, right? Such a thing as, giving citizens the right to take a photo of any police officer who's trying to get a bribe from them, right? And post this photo. How about that? Right? Because when people are caught up, minibus operators and all these people are caught up with these policemen, they are cornered. And what's the word? Is either you give us what we're asking for, or we can go to breakdown. Come on, who wants to give away an entire day? People have things to do. So therefore, people are forced to take out that money and push in the hands of the police just to get to go about their regular daily business. You see, you guys just like to stay from your pulpit, right? And you like to give instructions. And if I recall, Clifton Hicken, we had the whole tragedy of Adriana Young, and you had not one press conference. Not one press conference. Right? Ladies and gentlemen, all of this just ties back to the poor standards that we have in Guyana. The standards are poor, right? We don't go to Parliament to pass legislation to improve our standards, right? We don't go to Parliament to address issues that are affecting Guyanese on an everyday basis. We go to Parliament when the PPP is ready for a supplementary budget, when they are ready to hit the Natural Resource Fund. That's when we go to Parliament. Right? The election came September 1st, and it is now, it's gone, right? Just now it's going to be a month, right? The opposition needs to be holding the PPP feet. Well, you see, here I go again. I'm slipping when I say the opposition, right? The main opposition is not going to hold the PPP foot to the fire. I believe we're starting to see that, with them coming out in defense of the First Lady. Now, don't get me wrong. No woman should be attacked physically or verbally abused. Right? You've never heard us here on any of our programs abuse the First Lady. So what this is all about, I really don't know. I don't have an understanding of where Win is going with that. If they wanted, they could have came out and make a general statement about women being abused, women being murdered in Guyana. Domestic violence, they can come out and really address that issue. I believe that that's an issue also that the First Lady could have picked up directly if she had wanted to, and really fight that. Take it to the House with that issue. She have not. I have not seen the First Lady come out and pleaded with the nation with regards to what would have happened to those young ladies in Madia. I have not heard the First Lady come out and pleaded with the nation with regards to what would have happened to Adriana Young. I have not heard the First Lady come out and pleaded with the nation with all these rape cases of women being raped. We have heard none of that. But yet, the Win party jumps up. That's an issue. Is that an issue? Or is 53% of Guyanese experiencing some measure of poverty an issue? You know, Mr. Benchop, and I'll quote him. He said that Parliament, he said Wayne Parliament is going to be a real comedy show this time around. I believe we have started heading there. And I've noticed all the pontiffs that would have told people to vote Win, and is behind Win. Like everybody collect what they had to collect and go on in their corner. And his mom now, you don't hear from those people. The election is finished, you don't hear anything. It's like crickets in the dark, in the grass. I'm sorry for the Guyanese people, because it looked like if they were led, they followed the wrong people and they've been led to the slaughter. That's what it looks like. But then it sets up an interesting outlook, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see what their posture is going to be in this new cycle. Is it going to be the same? Because $200,000 per household, when certain household you got 5 and 6 adults, and you got to break down $200,000 for those adults, I could see 1 or 2 adults just taking that 200,000, split it in half, and the other 4 stay without. What is that going to do? That's going to break up families. Because money has proven to be such an important thing to the people of Guyana, it has taken precedent over morals. Morals doesn't matter anymore. Love doesn't matter anymore. When you talk of love, the word money has to come behind that. The love of money, that has taken precedent. It is sad. It is sad to see how the fabric of the great nation, the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, is being ravaged by the PPPC and their vision, their rhetoric. And many times it goes unchallenged. Unchallenged. That's shameful. That's shameful. Things will change when we see leaders rising up from within the communities of Guyana. Leaders that are ready to fight. Leaders that are ready to hit the ground. Leaders that are ready to hold the government feet to the fire. Leaders that have hearts that cannot be corrupted. Yes. Yes. Oh, yes. Leaders that stand by their convictions. That's what we're looking for in Guyana. Okay? Leaders that feel the plight of the Guyanese people. I'm waiting. I'm waiting. Again, I'm going to say this. Leadership is not about personality or personalities. Leadership is about that innate ability to lead a people, to execute on their behalf, to always be there to always show that energy. You cannot sit down and just say, look, I cannot fight this because it is too much. They have too many resources. No. This opposition is taking it too easy. Again, I'm going to piggyback on my show that I had this past Saturday, and I'm going to say, where are the weekly press conferences? Why are there no weekly press conferences? Just like how you had it leading into the election, you need to have the press conference throughout this entire cycle. You need to become consistent. You talk of building a party, building your PR is a part of building your party. Addressing the issues that would have led to your failure this last elections is a part of building your party. A la the voters list and biometrics. I'm not going to sit here and play this cycle. We, brothers and sisters, we're not going to sit here and mess around. We need to see results. We need to see results. We need to see action. This is about people's lives, man. All right? This is about humanity. Everybody should have an opportunity to have a small piece of the pie that is sharing in Guyana. Guyana is an investment hub right now. Everybody's trying to get in on the action. You know why? It is easy. It is cheap to get into. And the returns on investment is through the roof. No doubt about that. Y'all don't worry about that nonsense y'all hear both sides talking about. They're not making profit. That's utter nonsense. I'll say it here. That is stupidness. They're making it. And they're making it good. Okay? Everybody. Earnings per share is through the roof in Guyana. Those in the oil sector, they are making a killing. All of them. No exceptions. Let them show you what should be their official books. Okay? If they want to go there. Let them show you their official books. Good evening to you, Mr. Ernest Elliott. Well said. I served for 62 years. Yes, PR. Thank you, Mr. Elliott. Look, this is confirmed. This is confirmed. This gentleman has served a long time. And for a matter of fact, I know him. I know his family. He would have served with my grandfather, okay, who was an advisor to Linden Forbes Sampson Burnham. All right? So, look, we just need to, we need to pivot. We need strong PR. The manifesto, like I told you guys, man, that manifesto is spot on. Spot on. That is a people-centric manifesto. All right? And all those who would have been involved in putting it together, I say, kudos to you. Jamal Aziz, good evening. Guyana is a milking cow now. Yes. Yes, brother Jamal. Yes. Outside investors is coughing up all the lands and everything. Just now, the normal born and bred Guyanese, any business or anything, any mall, anything he walk into is not his or hers. You're just there for the ride. Mistress First Lady has been silent. She cannot be looked on for any type of leadership. Well, she had a project that was going on out of the bandstand there at the seawall. And what did they do? They tossed all the poor vendors away. Get out of here. We want this now. You guys are not qualified to be here. Right? I don't forget anything. I don't forget. Right? And they went ahead and they built up the place, and they didn't say, hey, look, we're going to invite you guys to come back. But we have some criterias. Nope. They never cater to them. That's why sometimes I get upset with the born and bred Guyanese people. Here you have a nation that is the quote unquote fastest growing economy in the world, right? And there is no equity for you. And like I use the word, you cannot sit down in your nation like a lappy dog and have people walking all over you. No. At some point, you have to show a spine. Do not wait. What are you guys waiting for? Barajagio have no plans for you guys. By the time you guys decide to open your eyes and move, Guyana is already taken. Many are already saying that the nation is already taken. For the last 5 years, I've been on programs. I've been encouraging people, do not sell your land. Do not sell your homes. Don't sell it. Those people in Georgetown that has homes, they're going to be coming for your land. The rich is going to be coming for land. They're trying to build out the East Bank into a new city. Their eyes are wide open on Linden. Let me say this to you guys. Let me say this to you guys. And I believe that Apostle London and Conan and Theodore Adams and these guys, Clinton Hollingsworth and these guys, I believe Asim and these fellows, I believe that they understand what is happening with Linden. Okay? Linden makes for an excellent tourist attraction to go along with the mining and everything else. Linden is rich in everything. It's a proper target. Okay? That's why, ladies and gentlemen, I was irate when I heard a gentleman from the Wind Party said he was given a blank check and he delivered Linden. And my question to that was, delivered Linden to whom? That was my question. Because he sure didn't deliver Linden, that is a predominantly African Guyanese community, to an African Guyanese. That is the fundamental problem with us. That is the problem. Unless we change, unless we pivot, everyone will continue to step all over us, and they're going to continue to take. Nobody give anything. They just take. Okay? The transatlantic slave trade is not even within the confines of their memory. The 400 plus years of slavery doesn't exist in their memory or their vocabulary. All right? It is for us. Okay? The human beings that look like us, to remember what our ancestors would have experienced and act on it. Okay? They have worked. They have come together as a unit. All right? And they would have bought villages across Guyana. And when you look at what we who would have come after them would have done to that village. Look at Buxton. Buxton, the nose is barely above water thanks to Dr. Hines and Brother Kidaki Amsterdam. Outside of that, they got a big bully that is just walking and just running through Buxton. Have the people oppressed and suppressed. In Pleasance, a few of them would have torn their backs on the work of the ancestors for money. For money. But here, we're going to go through a test of time. And you're going to show me what that money would have done for you. Okay? Show me what that money would have done for you. This cycle must be a serious cycle. This cycle must be a cycle where Guyanese, if you find that government is not being inclusive, which they're not, why participate? Why support certain businesses who is tied into the government? Why support them? Because basically you'll be supporting your oppressors. Why support them? Do not be lured. You have to show, that your brain is working, that you're thinking this thing through. Do not be tricked. I did a program, I think it might have been out 2 weeks ago, and I go through and read all my comments, and I was going through the comments, and I saw where it would have said, one person would have said, you are leading, you are deceiving our brothers and sisters, you are leading them down the wrong road. What is right about the PPP road? What is right about the PPP road? That's my question. What is right? The PPP sat in office for 23 years. Name me one thing that they were successful at doing. There's a stadium. 23 years for a stadium, though. There's a Barbies Bridge at the mouth of the river. And what else? That if the Atlantic decide to act up, the bridge is gone. What else is there? The 23 years were 23 years that was filled with blackouts, was filled with extrajudicial killings and murders. Okay? It was filled with corruption and high-level individuals jockeying for riches. The last 5 years would have been a continuation of that. Right? 5 years, fastest growing economy, $100,000 for every adult Guyanese in 5 years. 500 US. 100 US a year, 20,000 a year. You guys continue to lock yourselves in your homes. You sit in the dark. You come out in the day. You ponder. You prop sorrow. And you think about how you're going to put food on the table for your children. If that's going to be your posture, then nothing is going to change. Nothing is going to change. You got to start forming quorums. You got to start speaking to each other. As you speak to each other, you will be able to edify and enlighten each other. Your conversations are going to become broader, where you're going to be talking about issues. Don't talk name, talk about issues. Talk about issues that can change the trajectory of your life and the trajectory of your children's life and future generations. You are the adults of today. You are the ones who get to determine tomorrow today. You are determining tomorrow today. Your actions today is going to determine your tomorrow. This is for the citizens. But I also want to say to the APNU as a party, your actions today is going to determine your tomorrow. And I don't think you have to go back far to learn. You just finish a 5-year cycle there. And you see where where your actions would have gotten you. You have to keep uptight with your members. You have to build them up. Some people say, oh, that's putting too much pressure on a leader. That's putting too... No, man. It's not too much pressure. You have the position. You have the position. You're in the kitchen. You got to handle the heat. There's no excuse to that. Okay? There's certain instances where you're going to have to delegate. A leader is supposed to be a smart person. I shouldn't have to tell a leader to delegate. Leader should know. He cannot chair everything. And ladies and gentlemen, let's go back. We're going to piggyback a little bit here. Because I am one of the individuals who had an issue with leader of the opposition being presidential candidate, being everything. Lead of APNU, lead of everything. It's too many things. You're not going to have checks and balances because it's the same person every time. It's one person. You need a balance of power. That party needs a balance of power where you can have proper checks and balances. People can come together and put ideas together. Not the ideas coming from one person, or they take just one person needs to sign off on everything. This is the 21st century, man. We got to move away from that old-time politics. And they have to be trust. There must be trust. There must be engagement. Is lack thereof of engagement allow the PPP and others to come and infringe on members, get into the core of the party, and those members undermined it. All the strategic planning of the party was taken out. All that intelligence was gutted and taken over to the PPP. You know what it is to be competing against someone, and you have all their intelligence in your back pocket? That's a major advantage. No one can overcome that. And that would have been proven this past elections. Sometimes we don't want to be honest with ourselves, right? But we have to be. We have to be, no matter which way you twist it or you turn it. Look at the atrocities that the PPP would have committed over the last 5-year cycle. And they are still sitting there. They are still sitting there. A leader must be able to take advice and suggestions from members. Absolutely. There's no suggestion that's stupid. There's no question that is stupid. These and Brother Victor Ben, thank you so much. These are the qualities that you want to see in a leader. You have to take time. You have to sit down. You have to talk with people. You can't say, oh, I got this engagement, and you just go to the engagement and you're gone. You got to say, I got this engagement with young people. It's supposed to be from 2 to 3. But I will be there until approximately 5 because I want to hear if they have any questions to ask me and all that. So please do not set anything within that time frame on my calendar. We need protests like with Desmond Hoyt had for the 8 days. Beverly Ann Romaine, straight on. Straight on. If the Guyanese population cannot get free and fair elections, ladies and gentlemen, there is absolutely nothing wrong with peacefully shutting down Georgetown and peacefully shutting down all commerce across the country. Shut it down. Shut it down, because here you have investors getting earnings per share through the roof, and you have the normal born and bred Guyanese being treated like lappy dogs in their own country with no equity for them. How is that fair? Where in the United States or Canada will citizens sit down and accept that? No. A simple thing as oil prices would bring people to the streets in the United States and Canada and probably the UK and France. But because the PPP has never felt this type of pressure, they have the license to do whatever it is that they want to do. You know something, guys? The observers really did, as far as putting out knowledge out there with regards to our electoral policy, they really dug in this time. And you know why they dug in? Because we held their feet to the fire right here on Bench Up Radio 107.1 FM. Oh, we did it right here. Because I know, particularly myself, I did not hesitate in calling out all those ambassadors and everybody. These are human beings. These are human beings. They are subject to be corrupted. They are subject to error. They are subject to everything that a normal person is subjected to. And when you see the wrongs, you need to call it out. The APNU, they're doing some work. They're doing some work. But if you ask me, Wayne, do you like the posture that you see right now? Well, they're doing some work. Okay, they're supposed to be doing some work. I would have loved to hear them publicly come out and address the PPP. And I believe simultaneously address WIN also. That our intention within the first half of this cycle is to see a new voters list and biometrics. You see, you know what kills me, guys? These politicians, they play with people's lives, man. They do. I don't care what any of them have to say. I'm telling them what they do. These guys are playing with people's lives. Okay? That's exactly what they're doing. And you want me to be honest, I'll take it a little further. I'm not going to stick with the politicians alone. Some of these quote unquote social media activists, social media influencers, they just play with people's lives too. You guys got to read people. They come out and they portray one thing in public. What you guys need to understand is what has happened behind closed doors. Okay? Because it is what happens behind closed doors that have the telling. Right? When I come here, I come to work for the Guyanese people. That's it. No closed door. I'm not having closed doors with anybody. If I have a closed door, I must be able to come and disseminate what happened behind that closed door right here to you guys 100%. If that cannot be, then we having no closed doors. You can't stop me. We're not having any closed doors. Right? Let's keep it real. Let's keep it real. So, as we move forward, right, we call for a weekly press conference, right? That's a need. GCOM needs to be addressed. you know, guys, you guys remember when the biannual congresses was over? And all of us here, we said, let's get into negotiations to start a coalition. And the word was like, we have time. Let's do our grounding. I hope, guys, I hope this time around, we don't hear, we have time. Let's rebuild and retool first before we start addressing the voters' list and biometrics. Because I tell you this, brothers and sisters, you should not accept that. That should be totally unacceptable. Okay? The top priority right now, especially in the APNU, should be a new voters list and biometrics. Because like I said before, the APNU would have been defeated by a list. They got worked over merely by a list. All right? They weren't soundly beaten in real time. No, a list did it to them. So my question to the opposition is, what do you intend to do? What are we going to see out of you? Because, brothers and sisters, here's what's going to happen. We are going to step into October. Then you're going to hear just now, oh, it's Christmas time. That means it's family time, right? It's not family time when you have 53% of your population in poverty. It's not family time when you have all the lands being given out to external investors, you know, and the country is up for sale, right? You may have to miss a Christmas for that. You are who you are. You stepped up and you said that you want to be in parliament, you want to represent the people. You want to be in the hierarchy of the APNU, PNC, that's made up of the PNC, the WPA, and other small parties. You have agreed to that. So it is now left for you to execute your mandate. We have to keep it real this time around. We have to keep it real. Our feet, or let's put it like the people say it, like the public say it, the boots need to be on the ground. Our ears need to be on the ground also. And I am waiting on the opposition to get a rebuttal based on what Clifton Hicken would have said. What the Win Party would have done with the support behind the First Lady and stuff like that, it doesn't surprise me. And the leader for the Win Party is brave. I'll call him very brave. Because that party, for the most part, is made up. The makeup of that party from an ethnic perspective is dominated by African Guyanese, Guyanese of African descent. But if you guys remember a statement that Sanjeev Dattadin would have made, that the Guyanese youth is fertile soil. That was the quote. The Guyanese youth, don't worry about the Guyanese youth. They are fertile soil. The opposition need to prove to us, all of us here, that what he's saying is untrue. And you know how you do that, right? You get on the ground and you edify those young people. Beverly Ann Romaine again. Excellent comment. Win and the PPP are brothers. Look, I'm not out here to crucify the Win Party, but we're seeing the posture of the party, right? Come on. They have to understand that they're not dealing with people here who are, not knowledgeable. We have seen the posture of the Win Party. And please, guys, let's remember that Irfan Ali can only serve out this term. Okay, I've said it before. It is a high possibility that the leader of the Win Party is in Parliament because he is being groomed. All right? And then everything will just merge off and you go from there. The people said that they're going to be in power for the next 35 years. My question is, what does the opposition intend to do about that? Because the PPP is not right for Guyana. Here we are beginning a second cycle. And they started off with a blunder, a major blunder. 200,000 for an entire. You see, Barry Jagdeo and Ashley Singh and these guys, they already did the calculations. And they said, no, we're not giving up that type of money to people. And then the other thing is that a lot of people, right, they start to get comfortable with handouts. And when you get comfortable with handouts, guys, and you talk about nation building would be happening without you because you're too dependent. All right? You are too dependent. That's why I was so high on the whole rent to own concept. That concept in my book, as long as Guyana continues to experience where around half or more than half of the population is dealing with some measure of poverty, that rent to own concept is going to remain relevant. And I believe after this 5-year cycle, it's going to still remain relevant. Because look where we're starting. 200,000 per household. Show me where does that help people within that household to branch out and get their own and make that household smaller. Show me where it helps. It doesn't. The PPP has done nothing to temper high cost of living and inflation. Okay? In the US and Canada and these places, inflation has been tempered to a point. You're not hearing about it the way you would have heard about it 8, 9, 10 months ago, because they have put measures in place. In Guyana, we have no type of price control. We have nothing. You know why none of these things exist, right, brothers and sisters? It is because we don't go to parliament. We don't get to speak on important matters, pertinent matters with relation to Guyana. Right? We don't get the opportunity to do that because we don't go to parliament. We only go when, again, the PPP needs a supplementary budget. I hope that that's not the way for this cycle, because we're going to continue to call it out here on Bench Up Radio. We're going to continue to call it out. We're going to continue to identify and address the issues right here on 107.1 FM. Brothers and sisters, as we close in on time here, I'll just check your comments. We'll spend about 5 more minutes and then we're closing off. It is now 10 p.m. here, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here in the US. Okay? And we are going to be getting ready to wrap up. Ian Bino. Ian Bino is too much. Don't worry, Ian. There's still a pulse there. Ian is saying the opposition is dead. I went to their funeral. The opposition, the APNU is not dead. If I still am of the belief that the AFC still have a pulse, there's still a pulse there for the AFC. But I don't see the AFC being, playing any type of significant role. I don't know how they change the narrative of Charindas and then most recently what would have occurred, right? Again, to have the leader resign after what would have occurred, I don't think that that's going to sit well with the electorate, but only time will tell, right? You can't tell people where to put their vote. There's a smart Felix, she says too much corruption. Too much corruption. That's right. Neil Court says, lead the police not into temptation, pay them well. That is true. That is true. Up the salaries, pay the police officers well. Yes, they're predominantly African Guyanese, but when you look at the top of the police force now, it is changing. Okay? The top of the police force is changing, just like the top of the Guyana Defense Force. Look, the PPP is very, very strategic in their moves. Also, the top of the courts, right? The PPP is very, look, you once you read them, you'll see exactly what is happening. That's why I encourage people to stop, pause, and study these people. Okay? Don't just go on a social media program and listen to what somebody says and take it at face value. I think that would have led to a lot of bad decisions being made when it came to voting through this cycle here. All right? Don't let propaganda lead you. No, we are smarter than that. Carla Madu, black people are marginalized to the max, are being marginalized to the max. I can't argue with him. I can't argue with him. It's been a normal trend for centuries now. Right? It's been a normal trend. Carla said the house slaves are the most dangerous citizens in Guyana. Well, okay, Colin Barnwell. He believes that Linden was bought. Well, people are claiming Linden was bought. I'd like to hear more. Don't shut them down. Let's get the price so we know what kind of stupid people we got in our community. Well, Colin, just to add a little more to that, I don't know if he was on the program at the time when I said it, but the gentleman from the Wind Party said that he was given a blank check and he delivered Linden. Okay? So I'm looking to see improvements, major improvements in Linden, because look, what's good for the goose has to be good for the gander. Okay? I recall last year, even into this year, you know, Mr. Norton was taken to the cross and crucified, that he wasn't doing enough. So I expect to see people do the same with the Wind Party. What's good for the goose has to be good for the gander. We need to see policy change. We need to see work being done in Parliament by the Wind Party. Right. We need to see that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was your 5 minutes. I want to thank each and every one of you for joining this evening. We have to keep our heads up. We have to continue fighting. We cannot give up, okay? Light must always conquer darkness, okay? Good must always overwhelm evil. Until next time, everyone, have a good night. Thank you for joining.
At Big Bird Transportation Service, we specialize in safe, fast, and dependable delivery transportation for businesses and individuals. Whether you're sending a small package across town or need scheduled deliveries for your company, we're here to make sure your items arrive on time, every time. Our team is committed to providing efficient logistics solutions with a personal touch. With a fleet of well-maintained vehicles and experienced drivers, we handle every delivery with care, from pickup to drop-off. Why choose Big Bird? On-demand and scheduled deliveries. Local and regional coverage. Secure and professional handling. Customer-first service. Call us today at 929-329-9938 and let Big Bird take your deliveries to the next level.